Okay, so there's a huge battle brewing right now, and it's all about your internet connection. I mean, the entire US telecom industry is getting a massive shakeup thanks to some wild new tech and pretty aggressive moves from the big players. And this isn't just some corporate drama, it's a high stakes war that's going to hit your wallet and, your connection to basically everything.
So the big question is, who's actually winning this war for your internet? You might think there's an easy answer, but trust me, it's way more complicated than it looks. And figuring it out, well, that tells us a whole lot about where all of this is headed.
All right, so here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll look at the broadband battleground itself. Then we'll dive into the insane growth of a new challenger and ask, is this for real? After that, we'll see how AI is shaking things up, how a giant like Verizon is punching back, and finally, what all this means for the future of how you get online.
So, for what feels like forever, right, the internet market has been ruled by the big cable companies. You know the names. But now, a brand new technology has stepped into the ring. And folks, it is changing the entire game. So, what's the big deal here? It really comes down to the tech. Think about it. Traditional cable, that's a physical wire, a cable that has to run all the way into your house. But this new challenger, fixed wireless access, or FWA for short, it completely cuts that cord. It delivers super fast internet using the very same 5G signals your smartphone uses. No wires, just airwaves.
And look, this isn't just some little niche thing on the side. FWA is growing at a mind-blowing pace, and it's putting some serious pressure on the old-school cable companies.
I mean, to put it plainly, FWA has the entire cable industry, quote, on its back heels. And we're not talking about a small shakeup here. This is a full-blown assault on a market that for decades felt like it was totally locked down. It's a huge deal.
Just look at the numbers. They're staggering. By the third quarter of 2025, you've got the big three, T-Mobile, Verizon, and AT&T, pulling in a combined 14.6 million FWA subscribers. That's almost 15 million households that have basically jumped ship from their old provider in a really short amount of time. In the reaction from people who watch this industry for a living, it's been just as dramatic. You've got analysts like Brandon Nispel from KeyBank saying the traditional cable business is, and I quote, permanently impaired. Wow. I mean, that is some seriously strong language. It tells you just how deep the damage is.
Okay, but it's not all sunshine and rainbows for FWA. Its growth has been incredible, yeah? But there's a big, looming question mark here, a potential weakness that could threaten this whole thing. And that big question is this model even sustainable in the long run? I mean, as millions and millions of homes jump on board, analysts are getting kind of nervous, wondering if the wireless networks can actually handle all that traffic. It's like a highway. Can you keep adding cars forever without causing a massive jam?
Yeah, and this chart really lays out the problem. One research firm calls it a yawning mismatch. Get this. For a company like T-Mobile, FWA is eating up almost 2/3 of all their network traffic, but it's only bringing in about 6% of their wireless revenue. Verizon's story is pretty similar. So you're putting this massive strain on your network for, well, not a lot of cash in return. That definitely raises some big questions about whether this can last.
So, how are these companies planning to deal with these huge challenges like network capacity and crazy costs? Well, they're turning to the other big transformative force on the block, artificial intelligence. And this isn't some far-off futuristic idea. According to one research group, AI has become a strategic imperative. In other words, it's not about what might happen anymore, it's about what these companies have to do right now just to keep up and stay competitive. So, what does that actually mean? How are they using AI? Well, forget about the simple chatbots you might be thinking of. This is about deep, behind-the-scenes efficiency. We're talking about using AI to predict when network equipment might fail so you can fix it before it breaks, or using it to slash energy consumption across the entire network. It's all about making everything run smarter, faster, and cheaper. But let's pump the brakes a little bit. The really futuristic stuff, like an AI that just runs the entire wireless network all by itself, that's still pretty much stuck in the testing phase. And the reason is simple: money. The return on investment just isn't clear yet. And after spending billions and billions rolling out 5G, you can bet these companies are being super careful about where they spend their next dollar. All right, to see how all these pieces, the FWA boom, the AI push, are actually playing out, let's zoom in on one of the biggest players out there, Verizon, because they are right in the middle of a huge company-wide turnaround. You just have to listen to their CEO, Daniel Schulman. He said, "We are now going to play to win, and we will never again be content to be the hunting ground where our competitors take our share." I mean, that says everything, doesn't it? It's a total shift in mindset. They're basically saying the gloves are off. We're done watching our customers walk away. They are fighting back, and they're fighting back hard.
So what's the plan? Well, their comeback strategy really boils down to three big things. First, go out and win customers back, period. Second, to pay for that, they're making some aggressive cost cuts. And third, tying it all together, is a huge push to become an AI-first company, using that tech to make everything more efficient and hopefully make the customer experience a whole lot better.
And when we say aggressive cost cutting, what does that even mean? We're talking about $5 billion in savings they've already planned for 2026. $5 billion. That's a massive war chest they can now use to reinvest and really go after their competitors.
And they just keep hammering this point home. The message couldn't be clearer. They are not satisfied ceding market share. For you and me, the consumers, this is actually pretty good news. It signals a way more competitive market ahead, which could mean better deals for all of us.
And this isn't just corporate speak either. They've put a real number on it. Their goal for 2026 is to add somewhere between 750,000 and 1 million new postpaid phone customers. To put that in perspective, that's 2 to 3 times what they did in 2025. That's a huge target. Now, part of this new strategy is a little weird because it also means working with their rivals. They've signed new long-term deals with companies like Comcast and Charter. Now, these are called MVNOs, which basically means they don't own their own cell network, they lease space on Verizon's. So the cable guys get to sell their own mobile service using Verizon's towers. It creates this really fascinating, complex situation where they're both competing and cooperating at the same time. Okay, so we've looked at the massive disruption from FWA, the quiet revolution of AI, and the huge counterattack from a giant like Verizon. So what does this all mean for you? The person who actually pays the internet bill every month.
At the end of the day, this whole war for your internet really boils down to one simple question for all of us. As this battle between cable and wireless gets hotter and hotter, and as these companies get smarter and more efficient with AI, are we going to see better service, better prices? Or, and this is the dream, right? Could we maybe get both? The fight is definitely on.